And good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Lotus 79 race at Circuit Zolder. Paul Jenkins here, your guest commentator for the day with Yoni Bachman. And a little bit about Circuit Zolder here, built in Belgium. Zolder, Belgium. No, built in 1963, rather. Just a hair over 4 kilometers, 10 turns. And Yoni, very tricky track, especially in this car.
Absolutely, it's tricky. Last season we had the privilege to see quite a few off tracks in the first chicane and the last chicane, which was the alternate version. This time they're using a Grand Prix layout, but yeah, absolutely one of the most difficult on the calendar, and should be a good one.
Especially the surface here being quite slippery for these cars, and with the amount of power that these cars put down, you're going to see a lot of cars going sideways and some very competitive driving. Difficult track to pass on, just because it's of the heavy braking zones and the slippery track. So we're going to see some pretty competitive driving here, and I think we're in for an exciting day.
Yeah, it's going to be not that much of a survival battle with these cars, but still, it's going to be not just a matter of being smooth through the curb areas on the chicanes, the steep curves, which do punish the car if you run over too heavily. But it's being smooth through that for 25 laps straight. It's easier said than done. But these guys are the top of the Lotus 79 field or the community, so it shouldn't be anything new to these guys.
So we'll take an opportunity to go on board with one of these cars now. Let's pick, how about Lubomir Morik? We can go on board with him real quick and take you a lap around Zolder, if he complies and goes all the way around Zolder. This year being turn number 1, a kind of a tricky left-hander, very slippery. It kind of spills out over here into the turn 2 right-hander. You'll take this slower than you expect. Again, slippery track here. Those bumps on the left side, treacherous, will just destroy your car if you hit it. A quick right-hand flick here. Down a gear into this into turn 4, spills you out into this very fast straightaway here, and brings you to the first of the 3 chicanes on this course, coming up to the Klein chicane. A quick left-hander here. You got to watch those curbs. You see how high those curbs are, and then up the hill. Car unloads here, can get very squirrely over the hill if you're not careful, and into the second of the 3 chicanes here. A quick right-hander. You see he gets a little bit loose there and tries to correct. Very good job there. And up into another right-hander here, and so you're going up into this straightaway. You're going to come up into the chicane now. The chicane, relatively quick chicane. You can come around here, and you'll hit a quick right. Oh, and never mind. We're done with that. Anyway, continuing. You go into a quick right-left there, and into the 3rd chicane, which is kind of a long left-hander, left into right-hander, and then off into the start-finish line. So again, it goes pretty quick here. Your laps are going to be about, we're going to see about 120s, 121s probably.
Yeah. Yeah, high 21s, 20s, 22s, I would say.
Okay,
and,
so we're getting ready to...
Cars are already gridded up.
Cars are gridded up. We're going to go through the starting lineup here real quick. Your first couple of rows, Lindquist in 1st, Henry Solomon in 2nd, Fritsch in 3rd, Meglich in 4th, Mariah in 5th, and Zanetti in 6th. We'll try and go through the rest of the field as quick as possible. The light's about to come on, though, and just waiting for the rest of the cars to grid up. So, and this is going to be an interesting start because this first left-hander, again, fast but slippery.
Green.
And we're green. Here we go. A very good start in front. Oh, and a crash!
Oh, huge crash right from the beginning.
Already, we've got wheel spinning. It's a bottleneck now. It's just a traffic jam. Everyone's trying to get around here. Finally, 1 car retires, and we continue on here. But I have to take a look and see who that was. I think it was Nunya Moraya got sideways, and there's another car sideways on the track. Now, a lot of action very early on here. And
Gernot Fritsch is also taken a tow. Gernot Fritsch also involved in that turn 1 crash. We didn't even make it to turn 1, but straight line crash.
So we're action very early here at Zolder, and yeah, this is what we were kind of expecting here from the start. Anyway, looking back up at the front, we've got Nicholas Lindquist is leading your pack in the player's car, followed shortly by Salmon and Meglich in 3rd, and Zanetti in 4th. Dudognon in fifth.
Yeah, there was a huge gap generated between the two packs of, I think it was, I have to get a confirmation, something like 6, 7, 8 seconds between the top 7 cars and the next pack between them, because that was seriously a traffic jam, like you said, in the start-finish line.
Absolutely. Going back in the field, James Rawson out of 14th position. He spun into the chicane and managed to recover without hitting anything and presses on, showing him now in 17th place. Up front, a battle starting to rage here between the 5th and 6th car. A little bit of separation now, but getting a little close here. And finally, lap 1 complete. A very interesting lap to be said. Nicholas Lindquist is your leader by 0.7 seconds, followed closely by Meglick. Everyone's separated by a little less than a second here, and already the car is starting to spread out and try and get a little bit of a gap here. Meanwhile, Nuno Moraia back in 11th position now. He is trying to make up that position, but you can see he's got a little bit of damage on that left front wing there. It might affect him a little bit. Again, a lot of slow corners here, but we'll have to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, he goes heavily over the right side curve on the first chicane there. As you can see, the car really makes a wheelie when you go over the curbs too heavily, and that can damage not only your suspension or the front wings easily. The front wing is pretty low, not that far off from the ground with these cars, and slightly too high, too straight over that curb, and damages your front wing, and there goes pretty much a race, because these cars are pretty much a handful already with the full race trim, and if you damage the front wing, that's only going to make things worse for you.
So you can see already the car kind of already is pushing around on him. You can see him shoving a lot of wheel into the car to get it to comply on these corners, and so having to battle that car around, it's going to be a long day for him. 25 lap race here, and are already working on lap 3, so gonna go pretty quick, I think, as long as we can keep things settled down here. Looking down the field, Lindquist still your leader, Solomon in second, about 0.7 seconds behind, Mecklick in second behind Solomon, Zanetti in fourth, Dudognon in fifth, and anyway, Luoto is in sixth, very close, within contact of Dudognon and threatening for that position. So a 3-car battle developing here between 4th, 5th, and 6th, and we're going to keep an eye on this action here. That's the action on the track, it looks like at this point. Looking a little further back, looks like Moraia, or rather Teal, did take Moraia for 11th, so Moraia back down in 12th with that lightly damaged vehicle, but not giving up the fight. Here he comes, looking on the outside, and not quite. You know, he's going to try on the inside. Can he make it stick?
That was a hairy maneuver to try. Oh my God! Somebody kicks up the dust in the I think it was Jean-Francois Bossou. While Moreira is continuing his attack, the Frenchman just right in front of these two kicked off a little bit of too much dust going across that pretty much flat out chicane, like a straight chicane, which not that much curbing, but or banking, but in the curbs. But he still managed to put that car sideways. Didn't hit the wall, but that was a scary moment there for Jean-Francois. Drops down from P10 to 13th. But it looks like Nicholas Lindquist is on a league of his own right now.
Indeed, and yeah, it's a 3.7 second gap now for Lindquist, definitely showing the field. And go ahead, you see something here, Yoni?
Not
Morik.
really,
We're getting a report that Morik has some damage on his car. We're going to take a look at that now. I'm not seeing. It looks like the car is pretty healthy. There was a report of some rear wing damage on that car, but it appears he's doing all right. Meanwhile, we're going to go back and look again at that incident with Moraia.
Yeah, Morik goes sideways as soon as we get on the screen. Morik does have a heavy rear wing damage, and he goes sideways in the second chicane there. The infamous corner chicane, which was built after the fatal crash of Gilles Villeneuve. But yeah, Lubomir's day is going from bad to worse, and like you see, he's going very sideways in almost every single exit. No grip whatsoever in the rear end of that car, and it looks like well, if I was him, I were him, I would pull back into the pits because he's gonna drop way down the order. No, he still stays out and keeps sliding that car.
Okay, yeah, looking at the wrong car would tell me that the wing was good. But yeah, Morik, definitely some serious damage to the rear of that car, and he's going to have a handful for the rest of the day. Keep an eye on him.
Tapanilinoto spins at the entry of the first chicane, just brakes slightly too late and loses the back end. No bad damage done to the Tapani's car, but loses one position to Gabor Ludwig there.
So yeah, spinning all over the place. We talked about this at the beginning of the broadcast with the slippery track and the high amount of power that these cars generate. Going to make for a long day. So Tapani spins the Glacier Racing number 5 Lotus and does press on, but loses a position. Meanwhile, 4.8 second gap now between Lindquist and Solomon. They're looking around at the rest of the track here for some sort of battle. Looks like, well, let's see here. Looks like Moriah is still hunting down. Appears to be Teal.
Yeah, so and at the same time, a P13 battle is heating up. Marco Giika is catching P13 car, Jean-Francois, who took that trip over the dust, kept going on board with Marco here as he's working around the lap. So you can talk us briefly through this lap.
So the battle on the track continues, and you see the car going just over the start-finish line. Again, we talked about this left-hander, deceptively narrow turn here. You can see you drift right on out to that curb. And get heavy on the gas, just brake again, and you can see the car in front of him sliding around quite a bit. This turn very slippery. That outside curb you do not want to get close to. You hit that, and it's going to send you right off into the dirt. We're down into second now for this right-hander, and pounding down this straightaway now. Meanwhile, we're getting race control information that Zanetti had spun the car. Solomon looks like he's down in fourth now.
Yeah, Solomon lost the car. Yeah, Zanetti is up to third position now. Solomon had something happen in the third position.
So I'm going to go back and take a look here and see what happened to Zanetti really quick. We'll abandon this this lap commentary. And yeah, breaking down for that first chicane, Zanetti manages to catch the curb, and the car upsets the car just a little bit, and he does a neat little 90-degree spin. Manages to keep it pointing in the right direction, but not without losing serious amounts of space. So Solomon is now in fourth. That means Meglik is in second now, but 4 seconds behind. Zanetti ended up in third now.
Yeah, once if we manage to get a little bit of spacing between the cars so that the immediate battles ease off just a little bit, we could have another look at that start mayhem from the on top view just to see what happened there, because that really messed up the field badly. I mean, looking at from P5 to P6, there's already a 10-second gap, and that was all because of that traffic jam caused by the one car going sideways at the start. But let's just wait a few seconds and see if Michael Dudagnon is currently trying to follow Henry Salminen in here through the uphill, approaching the second chicane, and doesn't look to be close enough to overtaking yet. But as we've seen, only 7th lap underway in this race out of 25, and already several people are having slides, dust kicking, spins, wrecks, you name it, and it's only 7th lap, so a lot can happen.
A lot can happen indeed. Michael Dudagnon is I'm going to get that right, Dudagnon, there we go. Really hustling that car around, trying to catch up to Salminen, but Salminen does look like he is pretty quick through here, so barring another mistake from Salminen, Michael's got his work cut out for him. But right now showing a gap of about a half a second, but we've seen before, it does not take much, and you're going to get past here. Just one little sideways slip up, and away you go.
Yeah, and I have to say though, Henry Salminen being in front of Michel Dudagnon, it's really waking up some pace in Michel's car, because he and Salminen both did a 0.455 and 0.495, compared that to Nicholas Lindquist 0.318, so only 1/10 of a second slower than the lead car did. So not bad choice for Michel here to just follow Henry's car.
Indeed, and our pit reporting showing that as last lap, Meglik was running a 121.317 to the leader's 121.318, so he's showing he's got the pace. He does need a little bit of help from Lindquist here in order to close that gap, though. Meanwhile, looking back, it doesn't appear that Michel has made much of a hasn't made much of headway in trying to catch Henry here. Henry doing a fine job of trying to keep that car going in the right direction, and managed to recover nicely from that mistake. Meanwhile, looking back, looks like we're getting reports that Kevin Law took Para for 17th, but continues on. I'm showing them still on 18th. They're a lap down, so I think Kevin Law is a lap down from Para, so that not a move for position.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, looking for the battles on the track, we're still watching this thing between Michel Dudnognan and Salmonen. Looks like Salmonen has just put a little bit of wheel off. You're going to see that occasionally. You just kick up the dust coming out of that quick right-hander there. No harm, no foul, as long as you don't get too much wheel out of there. But if you do, that right side is going to grip, or that the left side is going to spin on you, and it'll send you to the right and straight into that wall. So you got to be very careful about putting the wheel off onto that dirt.
Yeah, not only that, but if there's like we saw in lap 2, I think it was, we had 3-4 cars in succession going kicking the dust in the air, and what happens is in the 4th and 5th cars, they pretty much lose all visibility of that exit curb, and they just basically see dust, which is a bad thing to happen if you try to maximize your exit with just wheel on the curb instead of on the sand. You can easily get into the sand trap more severely if you don't see the exit curbs.
So things settling down a little bit here. Battle on the track presently looks like Gary Thiel is within striking distance of Stefan Ellis, and is trying to work him through the chicane real quick. Within about 0.3 seconds behind him, so looking for any sort of gap or opening to try and make that move. Nothing showing so far, but it does show, looks like on the straights, Gary Thiel's getting a little bit of a pull on him. And that's great, but there's not really enough strength here to be able to capitalize on that unless you're right on top of somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the Zolder is not that much of a Mickey Mouse track, but enough, in that sense of a short straightaways, that could be called a Mickey Mouse racetrack, because you don't have enough time to build the speed up to use the aero pull to your advantage. Even though you are able to, you will see and feel the difference at the end of the straightaways, but unless you're very, very close at the last exit of the previous corner coming onto that straightaway, it won't be enough to capitalize.
Meanwhile, looking back, Marco Kika has made a little bit of a mistake in the turning chicane, lost a little bit of time there, and has now kind of lost contact with Bouchos. So that battle has been abandoned for a moment. We'll keep an eye and see if we can close back up on him. Meanwhile, again, still the battle on the track being is Thiel and Ellis, and Thiel's going to look on the inside now of Ellis and thinks better of it. Didn't really have enough space there to really make the move, but what that does do is manage to slow him down enough so that Nuno is now starting to close up to this 2 cars.
Yeah, it's going to be a 3-car tango pretty shortly, and yeah, like we've seen. With either damage or a small slide. It doesn't have to be even a big slide in order to completely jeopardize or compromise your exits. And if the compromised exit happens right before the first long straightaway or the main straightaway, you do have potential opportunities to capitalize on even just the smallest slide. But you really have to dedicate yourself into it if you're gonna make it past that way.
Oh, and absolutely.
Thiel's again close.
Yep, now Thiel's up in striking distance again. He's gonna. It looks like Munoz is really good on the straightaways, but the fast curves are hurting him because of that just a little bit of loss of downforce up there. And we're gonna look up front here. It looks like Zanetti is now in striking contact with Meglek, and now they're in a bit of a fight here. Trailing not far behind them is of course Salmonen, was also right into this here, and it looks like he's really hustling that car to try and catch up. But another 3-car battle.
But Henry Salmonen's last lap was half a second faster than the 2 cars in front of him. Henry Salmonen is seriously flying at the moment. In fact, his last lap was half a second faster than Nicholas Lindqvist's fastest lap, or last lap was, I beg your pardon. But Nicholas Lindqvist still with the fastest lap of the race so far with a 120.825, and Henry Salmonen's last lap prior to this one was a 121.067, so only 2/10 slower than Nicholas Lindqvist's fastest lap, but that was a blistering lap by Henry.
Absolutely. You see that Salmonen went way off onto the dust there, and luckily it didn't affect him much at all, but really just pushing the outside of the envelope there. But Salminen definitely a faster car. And now we get to see what, yeah, and Zanetti under pressure is starting to make some mistakes here.
Yeah, no
and this
kidding.
is what we're going to watch here, is, you know, Salminen just putting the pressure on there. You don't have to make a move in order to make a position.
Yeah, he's very close now. He has a potential shot of going to braking on the inside, but no, that doesn't make any bold maneuvers. But yeah, it looks like Zanetti is really struggling under pressure here. And again, Henry has a good run on 0.2 of a second approaching the last chicane. He could try a late break in, but no. But if he keeps doing that, it's just a matter of time before Zanetti falls under pressure.
Well, you know, Zanetti's driving the mirrors as much as he's driving the front of that car, and that's very distracting, especially in a car where you need such precision as this place. And so I think, you know, Salminen at this point, we're working on lap number 13 of 25 now, plenty of time, might be content just to sit back there and hound him, you know, just hang on him like a cheap suit, and wait for him just to make any sort of mistake and make the move that way. Meanwhile, we're looking at, looks like, going back through the field, we're going to take a look again at Nuno and Thiel. Nuno is right on the back of Thiel again, who's of course on the back of Ellis. That three-car battle is still raging on. And it's going to be interesting to see, just a real quick note before we take a peek back up front, at if Morea does manage to get in front of these two guys, again, he's suffering on those high-speed turns because of the loss of front grip. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can't get enough gap in front of these guys. It's going to be a fight down those high-speed turns. That can be very, very dangerous.
Yeah, not only dangerous, but even though he might survive, like you can be on a personal danger, you can compromise someone else's race in the process, and it's a two-way deal, and you really have to figure out which you want to do. You want to compromise your own car going over the curbs. You want to compromise someone else's race doing a bold maneuver. I mean, we've seen the whole 9 yards happen already, so it's anything can happen with anyone. As Nuno Moreira gets in a huge slide trying to maximize his exit coming out of the hairpin, but loses a tenth or two to Gary Thiel's car in front of him. But this three-car tango is still going on, and Nuno Moreira is clearly faster than the top two cars in front of him, but just cannot get that extra grip on the exit that he needs.
Yeah, the front wing damage definitely hurting him again, and it's frustrating for Moreira because he knows, I mean, he is definitely faster in braking, definitely faster down the front stretch, but just cannot get it done, and he's just losing gobs of time here in this fast right-hander through 2 and 3, and again in 4. You can see the car's just going backwards, but as soon as he gets on the front stretch, here he comes, and Thiel's going to look like he's going to try and take a move.
Yeah, now we have a situation here because we have a Wendell Para, the lap car causing a little bit of problem there on the inside. It was 6 seconds a lap slower, and that was a scary moment because they were coming to the braking zone with the slowest car on the inside.
And Ellis, the big loser there, got caught up behind the car and got just freight trained by the two cars of Thiel and Moreira. So now Ellis back into what is that?
11th place.
11th place. Back in 11th place. Quite a bit now. He's lost contact with the fight. So now it's a battle between Moreira and Thiel, and Ellis has a lot of work to do to try and catch back up. Meanwhile, we're going to take a look right back up to the front here at this battle between Salminen and Zanetti. And looks like Salminen is still just kind of hanging back there, but they are losing ground significantly to Meglich now, who has pulled out about a 1.7 second lead in front of Salminen. So if Salminen is going to make a move, he might want to try and think about making it. We're getting to 10 or 11 to go here, so he's going to want to make whatever move he's going to make if he doesn't want to lose contact with Zanetti. He's now, well, it looks like 2 seconds ahead. Yeah,
Zanetti's last lap was his personal best, and he almost matched Henry Salminen's fastest lap of the race with 1:21.095 last time around. So Meglich managed to put a perfect lap so far in this race, for a personal perfect lap for him. And Salminen is looking much more racier than Zanetti is, but just cannot set up a pass around this racetrack. I mean, I'm not sure if Henry Salminen looked to me like he's struggling in the straights, but he's faster on the twisty section. Maybe he just relied on too much wing settings, and they're just losing the straight line speed.
Absolutely. So we'll keep an eye on that and see where that goes. Meanwhile, looking a little further back here, looks like Tapani Linaluro is hounding Andrea Ventura now in the number 7 players car. So that battle is started to pick up. Looks like a couple of places on the track here we're starting to get some action. The Salmon and Zanetti fight. Now we've got the Tapani Andrea fight going on here. And a little further back, of course, Mariah is still all over Teal, waiting, trying to incite a mistake out of him. But yeah, you alluded to this. It's one thing to catch up to somebody. It's another thing entirely on this track to make a move and make a pass.
Yeah, now that the action is the immediate action has calmed down quite a bit. I'm gonna have a replay of that starting mayhem right now, because that was I would say a worth of showing, and that was a scary moment, I have to say, for the guys starting at the back. Like just watching, yeah, it was Gernot Rich who was initially sideways there, and nowhere to go for the left side of the starting grid. The first two cars on the left-hand side just nowhere to go and just plowed into each other. But the rest of the field did excellent job, I have to say. The one car completely sideways in the middle of the straight, and everyone just managed without front wing damage, etc. But that was scary.
Well, and a testament to the strength of these cars, Nuno Morais on that start just got hammered by looks like the car of Kosdrin. Just he was that slow.
Salomon has a good run. Salomon has an excellent run now on Zanetti as they approaching the first chicane this time. Yeah, first chicane coming up on after this next long straight, but just lacks the speed coming out of that last corner before the straight, and just again Zanetti's top speed just gives him that extra 1 mile per hour advantage, and even though Salminen is in the draft, he just cannot keep up with him.
And yeah, trying to capitalize on that, Salminen just got it just a little bit loose there, showed a little bit of tire smoke. And you know, on a long enough timeline, you keep pressing on those rear tires like that, and they're going to start heating up. The car's just going to get looser and looser. So you know, you can't keep hammering at this car and expect it to continue to handle properly. And you're seeing that, oh man, real close.
That's really close.
Salmon now all over Zanetti, and it looks like he's going to have to try and make a move here at some point, trying to get him under braking here. No can do. Zanetti makes a bit of a mistake, and immediately Salmon closes up. Now he's all over him down the front stretch. Can he make it work on this front stretch? Can he get enough momentum? Let's take a look and see into the braking zone for turn number 1. Nope, he's going to be content to hang back there. But he can see the pressure starting to mount on Zanetti, and he's starting to warm that car and those rear tires up, and you can see the car is starting to get loose on him. So, oh man, what a fight we got going on here.
Yeah, and it's pretty clear that once they go into the chicane sections, Henry Salminen obviously has a bit more front wing than Zanetti is carrying, because he's able to carry so much more speed going into the corners. It just lacks the straight line, as you saw right there. Even though he's right at the tail, 0.2 of a second, the gap between the two cars going onto the long straight before the chicane, he just cannot pick up enough pace to get by him.
You can see he's poking out occasionally just to fill up Zanetti's mirror with that red number 1 car, yeah, you can see it's just a lot of give and take here. Zanetti a little bit of a mistake there on that last turn, managed to lose a little bit of time, but then Zanetti goes wide through that turn, and Salomon just picks it right back up. It looks like right now, though, about a 4 or 5 car length separation has developed, but of course we've seen here that can all go away in just 1 turn.
Absolutely, and still not the most common thing to see in with the Lotus 79, that we have 18 laps now completed, and still we have 3 battles on the racetrack, and like real battles, not only like close distance driving, but these guys behind are really trying to set up a pass here.
So with 7 laps remaining in the contest here, I'll give you a quick rundown. Lindqvist is your leader, 6.1 seconds ahead of Meglich, who is 2.5 seconds ahead of Zanetti, and Salominen, who we've been watching in an epic battle for 3rd and 4th. Dudognon is in 5th, Andrea Ventura in 6th, Tapani Lindaluoto in 7th, and striking within striking distance of Ventura also. 8th is Ludwig, 9th is Gary Teal, and Nuno Morais all over Teal in 10th, trying to take that position away from him. Stephen Ellis in 11th, Paul Mills in 12th. Jean-Francois Bouchot in 13th, Marco Kika in 14th, James Rawson in 15th, Morik in 16th, your last car on the lead lap. Wendell Parra is in 17th, running a lap down, and Kevin Law looks like he may have retired that car in 18th. So your first car, your third car out of the contest.
Yeah, currently looking at Henry Salmon, and he's closing up again. Every single time they go into the hairpin braking zone on the last chicane, he's closing up like a maniac. But every time they go into the fast corners, he just loses that extra bit of ground that he would need. Like the next upcoming straightaway to approaching the first chicane, if he would just get into that 0.2 of a second going through that chicane, he might have a run of setting up a pass into the braking zone of the second chicane. But because he's just, again, 0.7 of a second gap real time going along this straightaway, he catches it now under braking to 0.6, 0.5 of a second, but that's not close enough to set up a pass.
And meanwhile, we're going to look back here at Mariah and Teal. They're back into it again. Mariah has managed to close that distance to Teal again. Looks like about a half second. We'll call it about 3 car lengths. But Mariah is starting to figure that car out with that damage and is able to make up some speed on those high speeds. Is it possible that Teal, under the pressure, may have heated up those rears a little bit too much and might be getting it a little bit loose going through those high speeds, Yoni?
It can be a million reasons, really. I mean, he can also have clipped those. Let's see at that chicane, which just ran through those few white stripes in the inside curves. The rumble strips are really damaging these cars. So that can even be due to the fact that he might have the steering wheel slightly bent because of running over those rumble strips, or you name it. It can be a setup that is not up to his likings. It can be melted rear tires, or I don't know. Just a variety of reasons here really can be the issue. But as the race has already proven, Zolder ain't like, even though people might love driving around Zolder, it's not forgiving.
No, not forgiving indeed. This is a track that is deceptively simple looking, but demands absolute precision. And getting word from our pit reporter.
And Salminen goes past Zanetti, by the way. Sorry, but Salminen does find a way past Zanetti. Finally gets up into 3rd position there. Didn't manage to catch where the pass happened though, but Salminen just a few seconds ago managed to find a way past Lucas Zanetti. So Salminen now back up into 3rd position in the race, and well deserved. And
it looks like Salmon did do that. Zanetti made a mistake. Coming out of the front stretch, Zanetti got it way sideways, 45 degrees, and just enough to let Salmon take off right past him. And then you see Salmon is just leaving town. I mean, as soon as he got around him, already it looks like a 1.2 second gap.
Wow, 120.9 that first time around when he got clean air.
So Salminen is just checking out from that fight, and it goes to chase down Meglik. But they're short of a mistake with 4 laps remaining in this contest. That it's going to have to be a serious error in order for him to get around.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, it looks like Nuno and Teal still all over each other. That is the fight on the track we're going to be watching. And again, we were talking to the pit reporter that Nuno Moraia does have quite a bit of damage. We saw at the start of that race, that car just got blasted from behind. And so in addition to the front wing damage we see, there's also a bit of suspension damage to that car. So the fact that Nuno is running that car as fast as he is a testament to his driving skill to handle such a damaged car, and managed to hassle Gary Teal. So, but you can see there are points in the track where he starts to lose position, and those do appear to be the high-speed turns, where that car, wow, look how Nuno way sideways there manages to save it.
Yeah, Nuno is not going to be the most fresh guy from this race after this is over. I think it's going to be one of the sweatiest of them all. That car is a handful of him to handle, and will be interesting to see if the 3 laps to go here, if he's going to be able to survive those 3 laps.
So anyway, Nuno has lost contact with that because of that mistake, and so we're going to keep a look here. I'm showing Luca Zanetti now in 10th place. No, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong thing again. Holy smokes, what's the matter with me? No, he's still in 4th place. It looks like he's about half second behind Salminen. So Salminen initially managed to blast off and leave Zanetti in the dust, but Zanetti is now trying to reel him back in and doing a pretty good job of it. but I just don't think there's going to be enough time here unless Salminen makes a mistake.
Yeah, these guys are swapping fast lap times. Last time around, before the start-finish line, before the last full lap, Zanetti caught Salminen 0.2 of a second, and this time around, Salminen escaped Zanetti 0.2 of a second. So these guys are trading laps. I think Henry Salminen pretty much gave up the idea of trying to catch P2 here. We have way too much gap between them. 5.4 seconds between him and Tomo Meglic for P2. So just bring the car safely back home and keep his lap times consistent. I think that's what's going through Henry's mind right now.
Indeed, content with third place, just drive it clean and try and get through there. Looking back, looks like Tapani Lunaloto has managed to catch up to Ventura. Is right on the back of him, but it doesn't appear to really be pressuring him too much. And it does look like Tapani also has a little bit of left front wing damage. That front wing bent up a little bit, and that's got to be affecting a little bit now. So Tapani applying the pressure, but it doesn't look like he's making any real bold moves at the moment to try and take a position away. Is it possibly he's waiting to strike, or is he just content to sit there and wait for Ventura to make a mistake?
Not sure. He's really. I know Tapani very well since naturally he's my teammate. He's really always going for going at it as long as he can through the whole race. But that can also, speaking of the front wing damage that Tapani has, it doesn't seem to be slowing him down. His last lap was 1:20.997. So in fact he was fastest of the whole field, and that was the third fastest lap of the whole race. So that can be like a visuals. That the visual damage of the front wing can be slightly exaggerated. Like I said, that can be from cutting the curbs too heavily because the front wing is grinding so closely to the ground. So even if it gets slight damage, which doesn't affect your car one bit, the option is that it can be visibly that damage. But in reality, it's not that big, not quite as dramatic. But meanwhile, Nicholas Lindqvist is starting his last lap. In fact, he's well into the last lap already and going into turn 3 already. Clean sweep from Nicholas.
So Nicholas Lindqvist, start to finish lead so far, working the last lap, now heading down towards the Klein chicane, turn number 5. Always that tricky left-hander, those real tall curbs. You do not want to mess with those things. Better to go slow and save yourself from bouncing off those things. It will seriously upset the car. Now working his way into the second of the 3 chicanes and into that right sweeper. This is kind of a high-speed right sweeper here. Continues on. Real clean laps, just like a machine at this point, Lindqvist is. Just driving it clean. Looks really good through this this quick chicane here, or rather the hairpin. Moving on down towards the number 10 chicane here, which is of course that long, that extended straightaway chicane here. Heavy braking, left-hand turn, and a quick right down the front stretch. And Nicholas Lindqvist, by a long margin, is going to be your winner of the Zolder round of the Classic Lotus Grand Prix. And
meanwhile, Tapani is trying his last chicane braking and the hairpin braking. He's trying desperately to close up the gap, but just runs out of laps. But valiant effort from Tapani here. Finishes the race in 7th position if he just survives this last chicane. Both guys seem to do good enough job. Yep. So Andrea Ventura finishes the race in P6. Tapani Lunaloto after that fight is in 7th. And after that we have a few seconds to Gabor Ludwig, Garrett Hill and Nuno Moreira, which also seems to have stalled out already. Nuno Moreira was unable to catch Garrett Hill in the end.
And well, looking back, it looks like Marco Kika is going to make an attempt at Jean-Francois Bochot. It doesn't look like he's quite close enough to make it happen. So barring a mistake by Jean-Francois, he's going to be content with the 13th and Kika in 14th. So that battle was going on for quite a bit of the race, but still unable to capitalize. So a very good race all the way through here, and it looks like with a running time of 33 minutes 56 seconds, Nicholas Lindqvist, your leader by 5.2 seconds over Tomo Meglic. Third place, Henry Salminen, after finally making that move on Zanetti, and Zanetti content with the 4th place position. Dodogno in 5th, Ventura in 6th, fighting off the pressure from Tapani to the end. Tapani Lunaloto in 7th, Gabor Ludwig in 8th, Gary Thiel 9th, Nuno Moreira fighting that bent-up race car for a 10th place finish. A spirited drive under adverse conditions for him. Stephen Ellis in 11th, Paul Mills in 12th, Jean-Francois Bousseau in 13th, Marco Kika in 14th, James Rawson in 15th. The rest of the finishers on your screen, and Yoni, a pretty good contest here.
Absolutely. The last time we were here, we didn't witness that much of a track overtakings, but we did witness quite a bit of mistakes. This time, not only added to the mistakes, we saw startup carnage, we saw a few clean passes done on the racetrack, and sadly we missed that Henry Salmonen's pass on Lucas and Eddie, but on the screen. But yeah, Henry eventually did that slight mistake, dropped from P2 to P4 and took one back, but wasn't enough to finish where he started. But still a strong race and excellent race overall.
Absolutely, and you know, we saw that remarkably backmarkers did make a bit of a did make the contest interesting, getting in front of Stephen Ellis there about 10 laps to the finish, and costing him a fair couple of positions. So next week we're going back to the United States, Sonoma, the long course, and another kind of tricky up and down natural road course here. Your thoughts on next week?
Yeah, Sonoma is my personal favorite of dislikes, if you could use that kind of a way to put that. It's a extremely difficult track with lots and lots of bumps, off-camber corners, no runoff zones anywhere. If you just go 1 millimeter off the track, you're immediately facing a bumpy sand traps. So that's going to be tricky. In terms of overtaking compared to Zolder, I would say Sonoma is pretty equal, because that track also punishes drivers, I would say maybe even more than Zolder does, from slightest mistake. But will be interesting to see. The track is pretty narrow, so will be interesting to see what goes on the racetrack. But accidents are sure to happen there.
Absolutely, Sonoma, a very undulating track. A couple of very fast blind corners, and we've seen before. You take a wheel off in Sonoma, and it's nothing but dust and dirt out there. So you are going to be hard pressed to get back on the track. And again, you fly over those blind corners, and if there's not good communication between spotters and the car, you're going to find yourself cresting a hill and finding a car sideways in front of you. Going to be a very interesting contest next week. So again, running through it, Nicholas Lindquist, your runner by running away in front of Tomo Meglik. We will see you all next week, same time, same channel. And any final thoughts there, Yanni?
Not really. Looking forward to next week, and just to say that to all the viewers, don't go anywhere, because in 45 minutes we are going to have the first round of the 5 events of Neo Endurance Series, which takes place at Sebring International Raceway, 3-car multi-class field, the LMP2 class, the GT1s and GT2s, going at it for 2.5 hours in Sebring night lighting. So starts in the broadcast, and the race starts in 45 minutes, so be sure to tune into that.
So your race action does not stop here on Glacier TV, but for us here at Zolder, that's going to do it for us. So on behalf of your Glacier TV team, I'm Paul Jenkins with Yoni Bachman. We will see you all next week. Goodbye.
Laters.